Hoennshy by Fenix. Chapter 12 Eternal Frost. The frigid winds of the Dakaris cut through Twilight's manteau, chilling her to the bone and causing her to shudder. Snow and ice covered most of the path, and cliffs as flurries pelted the mares from the sea of dark gray clouds above, making it hard for Twilight to see ahead of us. She put her hoof up to keep the snow from her eyes, but she knew she had to keep moving. Those soldiers could still be following them, with the snows and the coming night dropping the visibility to all but null. They followed the still fresh hoofed tracks of where the Phoenician soldiers marched to make their way through the mountain pass. "Will they following us?" Applejack asked, looking over his shoulder back down the mountain pass. Twilight turned and peered down the path, seeing only the faint red glow of the sound below. "Doesn't look like it. We should keep moving, though. I don't want to take any chances." "Applejack, please tell me you brought boots for Sipera. My hooves are freezing, not to mention all the muck," Rarity complained, shaking her hose dejectedly each time she stepped. "I'm not sorry, Rarity. We don't have room for food, cloaks, and nothing else. I don't even think about boots at all." Applejack apologized, peering down at her own hose, taking notice of the ice crystals that threatened to encase them. "I ain't so mad look at Miss Bear." As they hiked up the mountain, Twilight tried to keep her hopes up, but the thought of the burning town made her shudder. She kept visiting the looks of the scared townsfolk, each recoiling at the crunch of the shattered glass, in bursts of fire, mothers holding tightly to their children, and grizzled veterans hanging their heads in shame and cowardice as the Venetians marched. "We should have helped them," Twilight said, parking the ears of her other two companions. "Those soldiers were chasing after us. Those townsfolk didn't have to be involved." "You ran just as fast as we did, Twilight," Rarity stated as he looked at the purple unicorn. Twilight sighed, trying desperately to alleviate the burden of the town's fate from her conscience. She hadn't slept since she had woken up Applejack's back, and her exhaustion was wearing on her to the point where every step pinned her. "I mean, I just—" She trailed off, hanging her head as she looked down on the roof at the hoof marks ahead. Rarity opened her mouth to speak, but no words came as she realized her error and quickly backpedaled. "I'm sorry. I didn't think we would have to do that either. Yes, they were after us, but what are we to do? It was 3 ponies against an entire army, not a bunch of straggling griffins. Besides, the only reason we survived in Wheat Town was because of that accident with my element," White Unicorn finally said, leaving the three to trudge along in silence. The trail round the mountainside it grew rockier and slicker as they traveled, forcing the trio to step carefully as the jagged peaks of the Dakaris loomed overhead. The snowfall softened to a gentle flurry as time wore on, but the tracks ahead had already begun to disappear with the fresh accumulation. They had been traveling for several hours, the sky clearing to reveal the full majesty of the mountains. Even wrapped tightly in her cloak, Twilight shivered relentlessly. Fur bristling as her breath came out in increasingly dense wisps. With Equestria in the outlines baking in the summer sun, none of the 3 ponies were prepared for cold, let alone the freezing mountain blizzards. The Dakaris extended along the Phoenician border, creating a natural wall around the country that left no alternative ways of entering the country save for the winding path on which Twilight, Applejack, and Rarity now traveled. Jagged rises and cliffs towered over the ponies, while far ahead the trail widened, dipping into a small basin before reaching the large expanse surrounded by evergreen forests. "What do y'all think Minstrel City's like?" Epso asked, breaking for the harrowing pace. "From the sound of it, it does not seem to be a very nice place in the east," Rarity answered. "Do you remember what the princess called it? City of the Damned? I know that I, for one, will never enter such a dreadfully sounding place on my own accord." "I don't know, Rarity. One has said that minstrels is where space and time converge. There would be an infinite amount of cultures and societies that travel far from beyond Equestria, merging to one city." Twilight clamored, trying to imagine minstrels' visits. She pictured a massive city, filled to the brim with ponies, griffins, dragons, and various other creatures sharing ideas and knowledge from lands past and far into the future. It warped her mind when she attempted to think of how it would be possible, but she continued her imaginary sojourn with a giddy smile. The streets were lined with shops and homes, each decorated with its country's own fixtures. It was truly a sight the scholar was to see, but as reality quickly sunk back in, the smile on Twilight's face was wiped away. Knowledge of the demons and burning town below seeped its way to the forefront of her thoughts. I'm sure it's not so bad, Twilight stated weakly. If you say so. Applejack muttered as she shoved her hand into her bag to keep it from flying away into a wind. Hey, you told us there was no room for boots in those bags, Rarity protested, obviously checked the contents of her saddlebags. Boots wouldn't have to fit in here anyhow, and I don't think any of us like treasure through them planes back there with boots on. Applejack explained, ignoring the white unicorn's dismissive roll of her eyes. What good does it do now? My legs are still freezing. What part of eternal winter did you miss? Rarity Huffer. What's over there? Applejack pointed out a giant hunk of metal in the distance. It was buried halfway in the snow, allowing only a curved, reflective segment to be seen. Hi, you got this. Is that armor? Twilight wondered, cutting off Rarity as she watched raise her head, curious as to the nature of the metal. It was a curved, shining armor piece, dented and splashed with splotches of blood that slowly oozed down as Twilight held it upright with her magic, giving Twilight the feeling that these wounds were fresh. Looking around, she could see that the other stained armor pieces surrounded it, leaving the purple unicorn sick with unease. This is bad. What happened here? She asked, looking at her friends with worried gaze. What is it, Twilight? Rarity asked, slowly approaching the scene. Look at this. Twilight lifted the largest piece from out of the drift and hovered in front of her friends, showcasing the golden teeth and the silver guard. These colors are the same as those soldiers we fought, and this blood is fresh. Rarity and Applejack both recoiled from their sight, their fate retorting disgust as a drop of blood drifted to the white snow. What could have done this? Applejack asked, peeking around and taking note of the shredded pieces that still lay on the road. I don't know, and I don't like it. Maybe it was. Twilight stopped herself, pondering the ridiculousness of her statement. No, a griffin couldn't do something like that to a fully armored soldier, could they? What are we gonna do? We're completely out in the open here, Applejack stated, looking around the unobstructed sky in straight but uneven path. Twilight looked around, desperately seeking a way to progress without drawing any attention. She had yet to see another sign of life save her and her friends. With the bloody armor set on her heads, the cliffs were bare and straight, leaving them no crevices in which to hide. Up ahead, laying far past the trail, was nothing but flat, open land. Snow drifts and howling winds made it hard for her to see anything, but her put mind a little at ease. They have to be here somewhere. Find them! Twilight snapped to attention, hearing the voice of an officer she recalled faintly from somewhere behind them. Panicked, she turned to see a trail of orange light wrapping around the jagged pass walls. Applejack and Rarity turned to look as the lights grew brighter and brighter. Run! Twilight yelled as the three bolted down the path, bounding over jagged rocks and pools of ice. From the sky, several Pegasus soldiers dove and swooped past the three, causing them to stagger and slow their frantic pace. The large orange glow glinted out the snow before the three's hooves, shadows crawling out in front of them as the army made their final approach. With the glow of Twilight's horn, the air around the mountain swirled and sheared off the snow cliffs, whipping at a poised guard. Ozek ran ahead and intercepted a diving Pegasus guard, knocking it down with a well-timed buck. The guard rolled down the path, smashing to the cliffside, passing out. Rarity quickly joined her friend, releasing sewing needles into the air, striking their wings with pinpoint accuracy. After escaping the wind tunnel, the two guards rushed down and slashed their swords at Twilight, making her jump back before she forced them back with white pulses of energy. As more Pegasi descended upon them and formed a ring around the mares, forcing them to huddle, poising to strike. From out of the ranks, a lone, heavy-armored Earth-Point stallion appeared, raising his hoofs. His soldiers stopped their approach, backing away from the three as they moved closer. He stood, covered head to hoof in plate armor, and red and gold sashes hanging off his sides. A gold dragon insignia sat prominently on his chest, surrounded by red flames. Your corner. You have nowhere to run, he said in a cold voice. Slowly, he made his way down the path, drawing a blade from his scabrous mouth and glaring at the trio. What do you want? We haven't done anything to you, Twilight yelled, darting her eyes between the soldiers to watch their movements. Lord Risen has sent us to take care of the equestrian threat, meaning you three, the captain explained. You can either come quietly and alive, or attack us, and we shall kill you, and bring the Lord your corpses instead. Your choice. How do you know we're equestrian? Applejack yelled, nostrils flaring. We're just passing through. The stallion chuckled. I don't need to know. We're only looking for 3 mares. Whether or not you're the equestrians doesn't concern us. You're coming with us anyway. Surrounding soldiers brandished their weapon and bolted at the 3. Twilight backed for her friends, horn glowing brightly as Rarity magically stripped the needles from the down Pegasus' wings, pointing them at the opposing force. Lear charged ahead, quickly closing the gap with them with sword in mouth. With a spell in mind, Twilight charged at her attack as a piercing screech sounded above her. Before she looked up, a tawny griffin drove its slants at the stallion, dragging to the snow and rocks as it tore through him with its claws. The soldiers ceased their charge as more griffins dropped from the sky and mercilessly struck at him, sending in walls of pain echoing through the pass. Without a moment's hesitation, Twilight pushed her 2 friends up the path, fleeing as the soldiers were distracted, finding out the sudden assault. Above them, a pair of Pegasi fought against the lone griffin, racing past it and striking over grapple speed. After several attacks, the griffin grabbed one of the ponies and threw it to the ground, directly ahead of the frantically running mares. Pegasus' wings and 2 of his legs had been shattered, leaving to cry out as Twilight and her friends barreled past. Open field and pinewood forest lay before the mares as they continued down the pass. The sound of the griffins of the attack flew quieter, leaving Twilight feeling relieved. She looked back, watching as the griffins continued their assault on the soldiers. She was almost thankful to the griffins for distracting the Phoenicians. The 3 slowed to a trot as they entered the basin proper, panting and nervously laughing at their lucky escape. They stopped for a moment. Twilight sipped their canteen out of her bag and took a drink, smiling as the water slushed around her parched mouth. She passed it to the others, giving them time to rest before they made their way through the forest. Where did they come from? Rarity asked, watching the griffins in the distance. Don't you remember? Those griffins we fought back in Wheattown came from here. I'm just shocked they didn't attack us. Twilight got herself off as she spotted something fast crossing in the distance. Several other silhouettes joined it, making Twilight step back and point at the figures. What are those? I don't know, but run! Applejack yelled, jamming the canteen into her back as they paraded across the field, racing for the forest's edge. A loud, harrowing screech came from behind Twilight, causing her to turn her head. Her eyes widened as the griffin soared towards her, staring her down with ice-blue eyes. It flew over Applejack and Rarity, setting his claw grasping Twilight's neck, slamming her to the frozen tundra. She winced the scream as her side scraped across the snow, gasping for air as the griffin's claw pushed her neck. Quickly, she lifted her head up, watching the griffin's large, pure wings fold back into its body. She struggled, flailed her body, trying to break free, causing the griffin to press into her neck. Twilight gasped for air as she struggled to breathe, nearly causing her to black out. Several griffins landed beside Applejack and Rarity, restraining them and forcing them to the ground. After letting the pressure off of Twilight's neck, the blue-eyed griffin opened his beak, expelling various incomprehensible chirps and screeches, staring into the purple unicorn's eyes. The griffin fell silent, waiting as expecting a reply. Knowing her silence, the griffin coughed, ears twitching as it looked over to the 2 friends. My apologies. Sometimes I forget that I must use the equine tongue when speaking to horses. It has been a while. You can talk? Twilight asked, her curiosity overriding her survival instinct. Yeah, just like Gilda. You remember Griffin showed up a couple of days ago? You know her. Sorry, completely slipped on that one. Of course I can. Just because my tribe and I live in mountains does not mean we are degenerates. Learn some respect, horse. It said in a gruff voice before pressing its talon a bit harder into Twilight's throat. What do you want from us? Twilight choked out, tears beginning to well in her eyes. We are the same thing those sellswords were after. 3 equestrian mares who are headed for Minster City. Sellswords? They were just mercenaries? Twilight wondered, waiting for the cause presser. Why do you think we're equestrians? We're just explorers making our way to Minster City. Oh, really? The griffin asked, slipping Twilight's mantle up Twilight's flank, refilling her cutie mark. Hey! What do you call that, then? Hi! Leave her alone! Applejack yelled, prompting the griffins holding her to tighten their hold. You can't just expose my flank like that, Twilight argued. Silence! Repeated when Griffin snapped. You are in no position to make any such demands. He turned his head back down to Twilight, looking over her body. So, you are Equestrian. The scouts were right. Scouts? The Griffins that attacked us? Twilight snapped, squaring at her captor. They were scouts for you? We saved those Griffins when the Weetown locals were about to kill them. You should be thanking us! Oh, yes. I heard about this. I never would believe that the demon's heirs would be so naive. What was that? Applejack growled. It's not so exciting. Ponies kill and fight off Griffins. Griffins eat ponies. If you would have killed my scouts like good ponies should, then I never would have known about you. I passed through the mountains with these. They told me everything. Your demon's plans, colors, voices, what bags you possessed, everything. Let go! Verity screamed, thrusting about, her horn glowing a light blue hue. Before she could cast a spell, the Griffin held her, pushed to her side, her face of snow, drying out a yellow pain as her neck was cruelly twisted. Don't try any magic, unicorns. We know how that works. Trying to bluff us with your hooves, unable to move us, pointless and moronic. He hoisted Twilight by the neck, letting her legs flail heavily as he held them just above the ground. Most of the other Griffins were heading out. Make sure the right one is bound. Don't worry about the mud pony. She's not a threat. You know, I'm feeling real insulted right about now. If you feel insulted now, Applejack, wait until we get to Mike in January. Oh, where are you taking us? What do you want? Twilight yelled, terror streaming down her face. It's simple. We are taking you to the bastard prison to bargain for part of our homeland back. We will then take you three and absolutely reward you for your assistance. He spoke, and there Twilight's front and rear hosed together, replacing her on the enemy Griffin's back. Rarity was treated on the same way as Twilight, violently thrusting as they bound her and tossed her atop another Griffin. Applejack, on the other hand, was simply lifted and pushed, staggering into the middle of the two pony-carrying Griffins. Opportunity to walk on her own legs. She brushed off some of the clinging snow and slid quietly in the middle, looking at her two friends as the Griffins began marching into the field. What are we going to do? Twilight whispered, looking over to make sure the Griffins didn't react. No, not saying that line. I refuse. Vic, I'm not going to let you insult me any further. I'm not reading the next line. Yeah, Vic, I mean, you're doing pretty awesome, but you've been insulting Twilight almost every single chapter. Every single chapter she's been in, she's either been scared, whimpering, or a coward. I am getting sick and tired of that. Alright, you've been doing great. You've been doing great with Rarity, Applejack, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash. Why can't you do good with Twilight, Sorry. I just hate that this fic is doing so well. It's got a great plot, got great characterizations. It just can't do Twilight right. She knew whatever reward the Griffins had planned couldn't be good. Didn't know what that may be. Try talking to him. Maybe Rarity and I can think of something while you distract him, Applejack suggested, then turned her attention to Rarity. Twilight never spoke to a Griffin on her own terms before. It wasn't his kind of environment. Nervously, she swallowed the lump in her throat and slowly turned to the massive Griffin. Hey, I'm just curious. What's your name? She asked, placing a smile on her face. And that's another thing I gotta ask about this scene. What is stopping them from using their magic? He goes, oh, you shouldn't try any spells. Well, what's stopping Twilight from going, fuck you, and turning the Griffin into a crispy critter? And I'm not buying the scared shit, no. And what's stopping Rarity from bringing out the needles and stabbing him again? There is literally nothing stopping them. There's no magic collar, there's no magic brace, there's nothing. The only answer is plot convenience. And all this is making me do is wish that I was back at the Pokemon side. Why? The stern Griffin asked, turning his gaze to Twilight, staring in the eyes. The way he looked at her, it was as if he was relieving her nightmare. If you're going to exploit us, you could at least have the decency to give us your name, Twilight stated, trying to match his authoritative tone. It's Blackwing. Sizzle Atalius Blackwing. I'm guessing the next thing you're going to ask is about my griffins, is it not? No. Why us? We don't pose any threat to any pony or anyone. We're just trying to bring our friend home, that's all. While your efforts may be valiant, I will not let a horse's ambition trump my own. I have not braved this eternal winter my entire life for a pony to. You, my rub is tight, a game ripper on my delicate coat, Rarity complained, kicking at the griffin's side. Is this any way to treat a lady? Not from where I come from, you don't. My bag fell off as lying in the snow. You don't even have the decency to pick up for me? How dare you! Twilight watched this spectacle unfold as several other griffins came to the courier's side, trying in vain to calm the crazed fashionista. When the griffins focused on Rarity, Twilight's mind raced to think of an escape plan, silently thanking Rarity for her diversion. Stop thrashing! You'll just make it worse! A brown griffin yelled, hitting Rarity square in the cheek. If you complain one more time, we'll rip your throat out and bring the Phoenicians your scorch instead! Another griffin screamed, being wary of Rarity's having horn. A blackwing moved to join the cell face himself. Twilight noticed that the griffin's intentions lay fully on the now wailing unicorn. I hope this works, Twilight thought, channeling magic to her horn. Wind from the west swept through the field, magically picking up intensity. The griffins began to shiver and looked towards the fierce gust, being pushed back as Applejack dug down into the snow, the farm mare slinking out towards Twilight. Twilight slid off the griffin's back and into the snow, face first. She lifted her head and spat out some snow. What's going on? Blackwing hollered, unaware that Twilight slid off his back. Why is there a draft coming up from the mountain this far down? Twilight focused all the energies he could into the windstorm, lifting packed snow from the ground and whipping it towards the bewildered pack as he scrambled down to keep tabs on the cactus. Amidst the confusion, Rarity was bucked off the griffin's back, landing face first in the snow. With a final surge, the wind blasted and batted away the tail-standing griffins, leaving Twilight able to see Applejack and Rarity without obstruction. The fierce glow of Twilight's horn approached, her focus shifting to another spell. A sudden, unnatural jolt of energy ran through the mare as she charged the spell, almost breaking her fortress. Blackwing shielded his eyes with talon, watching Twilight's horn begin to glow white. Ducking his head, he pushed again the barreling winds, folding his ears down. Stop! He yelled, watching as the three Equestrians disappeared in a blinding flash of white light, leaving the dying wind to take their places. Now that's better! See, Fink, you can do a badass Twilight if you want to. Now, if you could quit it with the whole entire Twilight scared every 5 minutes spiel, I'll be good. Damn it! Blackwing shouted as he slammed his talon into the snow. The winds for the Equestrian spell had died down, leaving griffins alone in the wintering waste. The sizzle grimaced and groaned as he searched for any sign of magic around him. I can't believe those horses distracted me. We had them! We've prepared the scouting trees to find them, Sizzle, a Peter Griffin said, politely bowing his head. We are sorry for our folly, and we'll make certain never to happen again. Wait, Blackwing commanded, pointing his claw to Beacon thought. Maybe we can play this to our advantage still. Sir? Take the scouting team back to the past, and carry the mercenary corpses back to the apex. Make sure the sick, the fledglings, and any who stay behind, make use of them as we prepare to leave. I want the past completely clear to rid any evidence of our involvement. If we leave a small group of myths during the day, we can make it seem as though we never encountered the demons, pushing all the blame to Raven. Yes, citizen, the scout leader said with a bow. The griffin took the rest of the griffins and flew south to the past, leaving Blackwing to stew amidst his thoughts. How does she perform magic without drawing a rune first? If she can perform powerful magic like that on a whim, that purple mare can still be useful still. Blackwing thought, standing up and spreading his wings. Wizard's men would have had no chance against that sort of magic. Getting him to side with me would only be a matter of time. He took off, heading back to the Dark Iris as a cloud of snow rose from the still earth. Mistral City would implode with the Equestrians present. A small smile crept across his brilliant beak as the apex came into view, loaded with griffins gathering supplies for their hunt. This should be fun to watch. Twilight hit the ground with a thud, her mouth filled with snow and frozen dirt. She spat it out, squirming as she tried to free herself from her bindings. Somewhere in the distance, she heard the faint cries of the griffins before the sound drowned out by the wind rustling through the forest. She looked down, seeing Rarity and Applejack still sticking out the effects of the teleportation spell. The trees that surrounded the mares were massive, with lush green pine needles scattering their feet through the trees. Looked as though they were ways into the forest, almost completely blocked in by the massive trees. Twilight felt safer around the massive trees than in the open for the griffins to fall.
"Oh, my head!"
Rarity moaned, rubbing her head with the sound-bound hose.
"Where are we?"
I don't know, but as long as we are away from those monsters, it's a better place. Twilight stated, panting and watching her breath evaporate in the air. Applejack firmly planted her hose and checked to see if her saddlebags were intact. Applejack, hurry and untie us. I don't know how far away we are from the griffins, and I'm too tired to teleport us again if they find us. You got it, Applejack said, before trying to Twilight's bindings with her teeth, ripping them off with relative ease. Twilight shook her hose. Twilight ignored the rope burn on her ankles as she stood. A large bruise drawn on her side. She could feel the pressure of Blackblade's talon pressing on her neck. A long day and night seemed to have not faced the farmer, as she quickly went to Rarity's aid, tearing out the leg bindings. Like a boss! Glad you picked up on that diversion, Twilight. Rarity and I were hoping you'd come up with something that gave you time. Applejack commented, holding Rarity up to her hose. Yeah, it was nothing, Twilight said. Trailing off, she looked at Rarity's condition. Her face was badly bruised, as well as her side completely raw. Applejack looked completely unfazed, let alone a small amount of snow and dirt on her belly. With a step, Twilight forced herself to move and stumbled over herself, landing face first again into the snow as a wave of exhaustion flooded over the unicorn. Applejack ran over and lifted up to her hooves, before reassuringly patting her on her back. You all right? Applejack asked, watching Twilight hobble and wince as her bruises flared painfully. We can stop here for a while if we have to. No, we have to get moving. I have to get away, the purple unicorn mumbled, before falling again, her body refusing to move from exhaustion. She lay there, watching the snow fall down through the evergreens as it began to lull her to sleep. Twilight? Applejack asked, looking down at Twilight's tired eyes. You don't look good at all. Come on, we need to find you somewhere warm to rest. I can't. I just. Tears welled up in the unicorn's eyes once more as her voice started to crack. I never should have brought you two along.
"What are you talking about?"
Rarity asked. I thought you were over this when we helped you defeat Nightmare Moon. It's just Fluttershy's disappearance is my fault. Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie are gone now. We were nearly killed by griffins, and so Venus Lord's after us now. I should have made you risk your lives to help fix my mistakes. Twilight trailed off. Fluttershy's our friend, too. We'll do anything to help her get back home. Who knows what would have happened to you if you came out here on your own? Applejack protested, hoisting Twilight back over her hose. Those griffins could be anywhere by now. We gotta keep moving like you said. Right, Twilight agreed, wiping her eyes and forcing herself to keep pace with her friends, with a small wind in her sail. As he walked through the dull, snow-covered evergreens, Twilight looked around, noticing a lack of direction marker. The brush was so dense that she nor her friends could see outside the forest. Each way she looked appeared exactly the same. Trees blanketed by snow, surrounded by a carpet of white. Wary, she called out to her friends, stopping them from advancing. Do we know what direction we're going in? Are you sure this is north? Twilight asked. I reckon it is, but I'm not too sure, Applejack said, scratching her head. Right now, as long as we stay out of sight of those griffins, we'll be fine. Let us poke our heads through the trees to make sure they're on there when we find a way out, Rarity suggested, continuing to hobble forward through the trees. Fine, as long as we can find somewhere it's warm to stay. Twilight, the purple unicorn, yawned, before again dropping back to follow behind as her friend scarf tight around her neck. If we stay out here much longer, we can catch hypothermia. I think we need to find some sleep. We can find somewhere clear quickly. As the three mares walked, the skies above began to clear, revealing the rising sun. The light burrowed through the forest, illuminating their path through the warming trios of spirits. Well, we know where we're headed now, Twilight stated with a smile on her face, as they continued the northbound trek. The days prior had become a roller coaster of events, most of them tragic and slightly disturbing, but the scholar felt a sense of calm. She didn't know what it was, but even when she hadn't been pinned to the ground by Blackwing, she and her friends had remained highly calm and collective. She didn't know if it was her drive to bring back Fluttershy that pushed her back to distress, but she took everything she could get. a small, curious smile on her face. She took a sip from her canteen before Rarity stopped in her tracks.
Goodness, look up ahead.
Rarity pointed to the trees, noticing a small clearing up ahead. It looked like a small jagged structures that was skewed by a dark brush.
What do you think it is? A town or a camp?
I don't know, but we're going. As long as there isn't anything that wants to eat us, exploit us for personal gain, I'm all for it. Twilight said, continuing slowly and wary as the clearing grew closer. The trees ahead thinned out until the three made their way to the expensive grounds. It's ruined, Applejack interrupted, taking notice of the snow-covered ruins. Half broken down wooden structures littered the clearing. Most of their materials either caved into the broken down walls or came off scattered around its base. Remnants of wooden carts and what looked like to be old birch boats were buried by snow and pine needles. Twilight walked in further, sighing in disappointment. Horse apples. I thought this could have been something. Hold on, Twilight said before walking up to a ruined side. She climbed over one of the breaks of the wall, digging through the snow and debris. After throwing out the half of the pile into the field, lying the pile was a leather-bound book. Twinkle in her eye, she hastily threw the remainder of the leather off the book and looked into the air, sawing her friends her find. Eager to open the text, she climbed out of the house and opened the book, allowing Applejack and Rarity to take a look. "What's it?" Applejack asked, trying not to see the book's cover. "It's a book, but I've never seen one so weirdly worded before," I said before flipping through the parchment pages. The ink and parchment were mostly dry, seeming to confirm Zipporah's claim of an eternal winter, but at least one that never goes above freezing temperatures. The writing itself was readable, but the grammar and structure of dialect made it difficult for her to understand. It appeared to Twilight to be some kind of novel.
What does it say?
Rarity asked, struggling to make heads or tails of the archaic text.
It's a story about something, I'm not really sure.
The text is weird. I can't make any sense of this. Maybe when we get someplace warmer I can concentrate. That'll be great once we get out of here, Applejack yelled in the middle of town, most of them over to her. So I shoved the book into her bag and tried over, watching Applejack put her hat on her head. How long until we set up camp? We can't keep going like this. Later, we need to find someplace warm first, Twilight explained, scanning the ruins again. The town looked the same around, with not a single building still standing. What happened to this place? It's fairly old by the looks of it. She jumped inside another building, taking notice of the standing wooden shelves filled with flasks. Taking a flask, she popped the cork and took a whiff, immediately pulling herself away. It was strong and pungent, burning Twilight's nostrils. With her eyes tightly set from the pain, she motioned Applejack over and gave her the flask. Have anything idea what this is? With a sniff, Applejack whisked the flask around before taking a sip, face contorting from the taste. She swallowed the foul liquor before finally shaking. Yep, it's whiskey, all right. Old stuff, too. Never tasted whiskey so strong before. Liquor? That's it? Twilight sighed. I was hoping it was old potion or something. She took her leave from the building and tried up to Applejack. Let's go. There's nothing here.
Hey, over here!
Rarity yelled from the tree line, head picking up for the brush.
There's a way out of the forest over there.
Twilight and Applejack sprinted towards Rarity, watching her run through the trees ahead of them. Ahead, Twilight could see a faint line of blue sky near the horizon as the trees thinned out to a large expanse. A large, empty expanse.
Where are all the towns?
Twilight wondered, quickly turning her head to search. The mountains in the north were now too far away to be seen, leaving only the emptiness of the snow's white blanket. Under the horizon, nothing but trees rose above the ground. No towns or cities lay in sight. She sighed and turned her head right, seeing a large spindle jutting up into some of the remaining clouds. Her eyes transfixed, she bolted towards the tower, battling through the heavier snow as Rarity and Applejack followed. The path inclined towards a steep incline, but Twilight wasn't phased. A chance that somewhere habitable was just ahead made her ignore the passing exhaustion. As she trudged on, the hill became steeper before dropping off suddenly in a cliff. At the apex, Twilight stopped to gaze over the horizon, eyes widening in sight. I think I said this farther than I thought. An enormous ocean butted up against the peninsula, expanding into the horizon. On the land lay an enormous walled city, haze and smoke, its entrance barred by massive iron gates. A nigh uncountable number of buildings filled the inside of the walls, surrounding the sky-piercing tower that made its home in the center of the city.
Above the buildings in the city center lay a flat, spread out land with a mass of variously sized buildings that loomed over the sections of the city. A small, hair-sized path staked its way to the great gates of the crumbling ruins of other towns that lay beside it, rejected and dwarfed by the outer walls of the city.
"Was that it?"
Randy asked, looking over to Twilight.
The most northern city in the land, Twilight said, retelling Luna's directions. Minstrel City.